Ahead of President Biden's Soul of America speech on Thursday night, House Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy demanded the president apologize for his rhetoric about Republicans. McCarthy, who hopes to win back the House in the fall midterms, said, quote, "When the president speaks tonight at Independence Hall, the first lines out of his mouth should be to apologize for slandering tens of millions of Americans as fascists. Biden has for weeks slammed so-called, quote, MAGA Republicans as dangerous extremists, fascists, and racists, as well as threats to democracy. In his speech last night, Biden echoed those themes and called out former President Trump directly as well. McCarthy and most other Republican leaders have found Biden's rhetoric incendiary and dangerous, painting them as extremists for their policy beliefs and continued support of the 45th president. McCarthy's speech was delivered just a couple of hours before Biden's, seemingly as a pre-response.
Over the past month alone, I have traveled to more than 20 states and met with over 100 Republican candidates and members and thousands of their constituents. So tonight, I want to share with you what I heard from Americans across this country. What is clear to me and clear to you is that Washington and the White House aren't listening. They just don't get it. You have never been more worried, more alarmed by the direction of our country. Yet they tell you everything is fine. You worry that your children will have less opportunity than you did. Yet they tell you things are looking up. You fear that America is becoming poorer, less safe, less respected, and less free by the day. Yet they tell you the border is safe and America is secure. The White House says inflation is transitory. Deficits don't matter. And the spike in crime is just a bump in the road. Yet you know that doesn't add up. That's where we're different. I don't dismiss your fears. I share them. And I, along with every Republican running for Congress this year, share your unwavering conviction that we must change direction in Washington before it is too late. The American experiment and the good people who believe in it have not said their last word. The electric cord of liberty still sparks in our hearts. The spirit of the Pilgrims, the Patriots, and the pioneers still inspire our souls. Our best days are ahead of us, not behind us. Our nation can flourish again. And under a new, historic Republican majority, it will. In the past 2 years, Joe Biden has launched an assault on the soul of America, on its people, on its laws, on its most sacred values. He has launched an assault on our democracy. His policies have severely wounded America's soul, diminished America's spirit, and betrayed America's trust. For the past 19 months, Democrats have had total control in Washington. They control the House. They control the Senate. They control the White House. They have all the levers of power. So let me ask you this. How have they done? Democrats control every committee in Congress, responsible for our nation's safety, our prosperity, our education, and our government oversight. They are in charge of every federal agency responsible for our law enforcement, for drug enforcement, for our homeland security, for our border security. They're responsible for our food supply, our energy supply, our public health, our public education, our federal spending, our federal borrowing, and even our foreign affairs. So let me ask you again, how have they done? Are you better off? What has 2 years of one-party Democrat rule in Washington given us. Now let me state the obvious. Our economy is now in a recession. Here are the facts. Fact, our supply chains are collapsing. Our transportation system is completely dysfunctional. Air travel has never been more unpredictable. Fact, families go to the grocery store to find empty shelves. Necessities like baby formula have been impossible to find, which means many children can't get the nutrition that they need. If you can find what you need at the store, it costs more, a lot more. Food prices are up more than 13%, the highest increase ever. We're told again and again by Washington that it's all temporary. The historic spending binge of Joe Biden and his Democrat Congress has brought the greatest inflation crisis to this nation in generations. You know, more than 20 million American households, that's about 1 in every 6 families, have fallen behind on their utility bills. The amount they owe has doubled since the beginning of the pandemic, and winter is coming. Fact, gas prices are 60% higher than what Joe Biden took office. He inherited energy independence from President Trump, but is now traveling the world begging foreign countries for energy to power our country. We have God-given American-made energy we need right here, right now. But Joe Biden, because of the extreme soft-on-crime policies of Joe Biden and the defund police Democrat Party, our communities haven't been this dangerous in decades. You want the facts? Last year was the deadliest year in America in 20 years. That includes attacks on our police officers. And this year is no better. Democrat prosecutors and Democrat politicians have declared war on public safety. At our southern border, our safety isn't just at risk. Our national security has been compromised. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and the Democrat Congress have created the worst illegal immigration crisis in all the history of our country. They eliminated every successful policy put in place during the Trump administration and adopted a policy of releasing illegal immigrants by the millions into the United States. Our border is now wide open. Last fiscal year under Biden, there were nearly 1.5 million apprehensions in our southern border. Fact, that is a record. This year, Biden has already broken last year's record. Almost 2 million illegal immigrants were apprehended. That includes 66 individuals on the terrorist watch list. You have to ask this question. Why are those on a terrorist watch list coming to America, and what do they have planned for us? But it doesn't include the over 500,000 gotaways, or the countless more unknown gotaways slipping in completely undetected as our border agents are pulled off the line. Fact, the number of illegal immigrants who've crossed our border under Biden easily exceeds the population of dozens of states. Think about what this means for our healthcare system, our hospital system, our education system. And think about what a wide open border had meant for the lives of younger Americans. Criminal cartels are now in full control of our southern border. They decide who and what comes into our country. And that means record amounts of drugs flooding into our cities and towns. Every American city is now a border city. Fentanyl is now the leading cause of death for Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. Fact, Biden's open border policies are killing Americans. Fentanyl is poisoning and killing 300 Americans every single day. That is equivalent to a full airplane crash every single day in our country. Why is the White House not treating this like the crisis it is? Our pain and suffering at home have been matched by humiliation abroad. 1 year ago, our country watched in horror as Biden's botched withdrawal in Afghanistan left 13 American service members dead and landed a lasting blow to America's prestige that will haunt us for generations to come. Without question, Biden's decision led to the greatest foreign policy embarrassment in American history. Genocidal China grows stronger, bolder, and more aggressive by the day. Iran is closer to a nuclear missile than ever before. The world is more dangerous, more unstable, and more chaotic. Peace and security have been replaced by hostility and aggression. This is the record of Joe Biden. This is the record of a Democrat control in Washington. President Biden isn't interested in the truths. All he wants to do is change the subject from the pain Americans are facing every day. But, Mr. President, I have news for you. Americans don't want to change the subject. They want to change the leadership in Washington. Mr. President, you know why? Because the Democrats in Washington have no plan to make life better. No plan to stop inflation, only to increase it. No plan to secure the border and stop fentanyl from poisoning our children. No plan to reduce crime and restore law and order in our cities. No plan to put our children's futures first and give parents a voice. No plan to get the country back on track. The American people deserve a Congress that focuses on their needs. In November, our country faces a clear choice. It's a choice between two different philosophies and two different futures. This is a national referendum. A referendum on inflation, illegal immigration, indoctrination, and crime at home and humiliation abroad. A choice between soaring inflation and skyrocketing energy costs, or affordable rents and gas and groceries for you and your family. This is a choice between whether we have an open border or a secure border. A choice between protecting criminals or protecting law-abiding Americans. Republicans have a plan for a new direction that will get our country back on track. Our plan is a commitment to America. If Republicans are given the opportunity and honor to have the majority in the House, we will work day and night, hour after hour, for you, the people.